And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, General Manager at WEIU. Today we're going to talk about all things Mattoon. Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Christy Hild.
Hi.
And Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Tim Condron.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate you coming over. I know it's as we wrap up the end of the year, it's a busy time, so I appreciate your time on this Monday. But I thought it would be a good thing to maybe talk about as we kind of recap this year, because you've had so many things happening at Mattoon High School and in the school district. So we would just kind of go there. But I guess the first thing we'll talk about is that we're only 4 weeks from graduation. You were saying, Christy?
Yes, we were counting down this morning trying to figure out how much more time we had, and my kids were like, "We only have 4 more weeks." Like panic sets in, right? We have a lot to do. But yeah, 4 weeks. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we've got some excited seniors. You know how that is. At the end of the school year, everybody's got that spring itch coming on. So and our high school staff and administration, I think, are gearing up for another wonderful graduation.
You know how that is personally this year,
yeah,
right?
The last one, the last Owens to graduate Mattoon. I guess if they stayed in Mattoon, there could be more, but. The last one of mine. There you go. The other thing that's happened, obviously, the lift building started this school year, and it'll wrap up as well with the end of the school year. So as you kind of assess where you've been and what the good things, I always say the good, bad, and the ugly, but the good, bad, and what you're going to do different in the future. Could you assess that a little bit for both of you, please, Lift?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. We like to say we are 8 months old as of right now. All of the hard work of community members, partners, facilitators, our director, McLean Schaefer, but most importantly, our kids. We have a lot to celebrate. I actually brought numbers because it's almost unbelievable. In 8 months, we've had 35 guest speakers. It's great, from the community. We've had 276 service projects completed.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and then we had 167 student leadership opportunities where they were asked to speak. So if you think about being 16, 17, 18 years old and just getting to be a guest speaker, we've had 9 full internships in our first year, and this is a really exciting one. Over these 8 months, we've had 227 certifications or credentials earned that will give students immediate edge in the job market. Some of them can go right into a profession or a career, and others will be able to use this to set themselves apart from other people applying for colleges. So in 8 months with about 110 students.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, I mean, we are so proud of that.
And the 110 students, for before Tim chimes in there, how many different communities is that? Do you know? I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's 12. We have 12. Yeah.
12 different districts. Yeah. And I think projected numbers right now, we're up around 185, 190 for enrollment for next school year, which is getting really close to that goal that we have set kind of as 200 students in the second year. But, as Christy alluded to, it's just fascinating to see kids coming out, experiencing those opportunities that they may not have otherwise had. And kudos and a shout out to all our local districts and colleagues in other districts that are also doing the same thing. LIFT just is a unique opportunity to be able to kind of offer that consolidation of efforts, if you will, that may not be able to be afforded in any one individual school district. So we just feel really blessed to be a part of that opportunity and to see it continue to grow. And also a huge shout out to those businesses and industry leaders that have come alongside. It seems like almost every month we have a presentation to our school board offering a financial donation to LIFT to be able to help support students. So that's only continued to grow, and we really appreciate that community support.
What did you two learn from this first year of LIFT?
Just how awesome.
Or anything that surprised you? Or
I think just the community, the unity with other people that share a vision. Christy did an exceptional job of walking back through last summer, like, hey, we're mapping out the how this is all going to come together, the design of the architectural plans, how those spaces were going to be fit. In the summer before, we were a part of developing those programs with industry leaders and staff members. It's, to be quite honest, Jeff, it's kind of hard to believe that in 2 years we're here now. And it's pretty amazing when you watch students walking in and out and they're excited about what their next steps are.
Mm-hmm. I would echo all of that. I'd add that I'm continually blown away by how kids exceed expectations, right? So when you can collectively build a vision and a system, and then you are able to kind of step back and get out of the way, they're going to make it 10 times better than what you envisioned. So, we have students leading tours all the time. We have projects going on. We have companies coming through. Economic development brings people to see, like, we're working on developing a workforce. And I think most of all this far in, it's just exciting, and I hope our students see that when you have a group of caring people that come together, you can really achieve anything. I mean, we were able to do this because we had a shared end in mind, and we had committed contributors. So.
And the first year is always the toughest if you think about it. So you kind of, in a way, have got that one out of the way, and you can evaluate and then say, okay, how are we going to make it better in 23, 24? And I'm sure that's probably started. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, if we had $1 for every time we said, oh my goodness, next year we won't have to make this up, we'd have more than $2.
Yeah, and Jeff, it's a really good point. I mean, it's just like in anything. I think we're learning. What do we need to fix? Maybe what can we do better? And then how do we involve kids in those solutions? Because that's the real world. And I think that's been a huge opportunity for us as well, is, giving some of those, I wouldn't say problems, but challenges to our students to help solve. They're the ones that are going back and having those conversations with other students in their districts and talking about the excitement that they're seeing around this. So, it is an evolution, and, it is nice to kind of have a year under our belt. So,
yeah. What do you get asked the most still about Lift? Is there something that people want to know more?
Oh, that's a really good question.
If it's one of the key questions I get out in the community is like, hey, when can my son or daughter start coming to Lift? So that's probably the biggest one I get out in the community. Internally, I think we get a lot of questions around, what do you see some programmatic changes in the future? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, those things that I think we're gonna lean on those students and those staff members and those advisory boards that will help us determine, like, what do we need to change and tweak to stay current and relevant as this evolves. So
I'd say, in addition, we get asked about schedule, and you asked about growth.
Yeah.
Starting from scratch, we put together a schedule and thought, well, we'll just have these 3 sessions, and it's worked predominantly for the majority of kids who want to come. But we quickly pivoted to say, and we'll find a way to say yes. So if that doesn't work for you, let's come up with an individual program. That was huge for us. And then we get asked, like, will there ever be adult education? So that's a stretch goal for us. Truly, like, in the coming year, we anticipate developing classes for our community members to also to be able to enjoy the building so they can see, what's available to students and people in our region.
Okay. The other question I just came to me right now, what about the summer? What happens in the Lift building in the summer? Are there camps, projects, or does it rest until
fall? We have a ton of cool camps, and we're actually taking registration for that right now. In the first 24 hours that the camp registration was open, we had over 40 kids sign up, but we have 20 plus camps at Lift, and they are all giving students a taste of what they would experience on each of the programs. So anything from drone soccer to building a computer. We have childcare licensing where kids can get some certificates in the summer for babysitting, and really just wanted to give students as many opportunities to come in, have some fun, do some learning, and experience all that Lift has to offer.
So that'll happen all summer long then, pretty much?
Yeah, June and July. And people can register for that on our webpage. And on Lift's webpage as well.
Okay. And then what about like jobs and internships at Lift or even the school district right now? I know at the end of the year we have retirements. Some teachers, go to other jobs, we know. So talk about what's open and what you need and what's available out there.
We need bus drivers. We
really
need bus drivers. And we're not, if anyone's listening out there, your local school district, if you're in a different community, they too could need bus drivers. So that's really an area I think that we've kind of been challenged with over the last year and a half, 2 years. There's been some changes in regulation, but we'd be happy to assist anybody that's interested in that. We're also looking for some math teachers at the high school. We've got 2 openings there, so hoping to fill those here within the next 3 to 4 weeks. But I think we're blessed to be able to have. We've got a strong communications department with Katie Pullen and Katie Haney and Callie Pullen, and they put out some information on our district webpage, our Facebook page. So if anyone's interested, please feel free to go there first and reach out to us.
Yeah, I get an email from Callie about probably every day, if not every other day, with things that are going on. So you know a lot there. Yeah, so it's good. And then I know that substitute teachers are still needed almost everywhere, correct?
Yes. Yep.
What about any teachers that are retiring that you would like to publicly acknowledge? I mean, are there some that are either leaving or retiring or staying, or talk about any of those?
Yeah, Jeff, I'd be
putting you on the
remiss
spot, I know.
no, it's good. I mean, I just don't want to leave anybody out, but I think that we've been really blessed in Mattoon to have great educators, and I think that this is that time of year where they kind of reflect upon not only their career but just the impact that they have on kids. So. Just a shout out to all of Mattoon Community Unit 2's retirees, and not just teachers, but also our support staff. We've got folks from custodians to maintenance to bus drivers that play a key role every day in helping get our kids to and from school and making their day as successful as they can. So, but yeah, I mean, we feel really fortunate to be able to work with people that just have a passionate care for kids and their learning. So.
When you go back to bus drivers just for a second, I know it's in the scheme of things. Why do you think there's such a need? And is it new regulations, or is it just some people are just? I mean, to me, I wouldn't be a bus driver. I just wouldn't want to be in. I don't like driving anything that big and be responsible that well for so many.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. To your point, Jeff. So we've had some district administrators, we've had some staff members that have sat through the bus driver training, and they go through and they realize the magnitude of that position, keeping 50, 60 kids safe, while also they're all socializing and. I know there's times when
they're very quiet. Actually,
yeah, right. I'm glad my two kids aren't here because there's sometimes when I'm driving and I'm turning around growling at them, right? So I think it's a combination of many things, but honestly, it's a very fulfilling job. And what we've heard is, there's some of the best relationships that are established are those that they meet first thing in the morning and at the end of the day.
I was just going to say the same thing. One of my favorite people was my bus driver, Sandy. I had her all the way from kindergarten until high school when I stopped riding the bus, and she made such an impact on all of us. And so it's a great way to be a face of the district, to build meaningful relationships for parents. Often you see them in their homes right at the morning and when they drop off. So it's a great career, and we have a great culture, and we want them.
You always remember your bus number.
You do.
Too. I was 23.
Right.
I was
and
3.
I only had a bus for 2 years.
Bus 3.
7th and 8th grade, so it's funny.
Hey, you can still hop on 23 if you want to drive it.
23 still up?
Yeah.
No, I'm not
We would
driving.
create a 23 for you.
Maybe a substitute teacher down the line, but not driving.
He said
All right,
it. Write it down.
Yep.
I've told him before. Leader in Me program. I saw that on your Facebook, on your webpage there today.
Yep.
Talk about that, what that is, and kind of what that means for the school district here in Mattoon.
Yeah, so the Leader in Me is a program that helps develop leadership skills in students that many adults learn to cultivate as they become, in their careers. So essentially, we use the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey. You've probably heard of it, right? You probably have a dog-eared copy somewhere on a shelf,
There's
like
one in my
many of
office
us.
right now.
Exactly. So Muriel Summers was a principal of an elementary school, and she had this idea, thinking why do we wait until we're grown-ups to teach this? What would happen if we taught this to our young students? And so the Leader in Me does just that. It helps teach students those highly effective paradigms, practices to lead their life effectively. So we, as a district in 2019, launched that for students preschool through 12th grade. We also partnered with some community members to essentially go through that training and then develop our school systems around the idea that everyone can be a leader and everyone has genius. So we incorporate as much as often direct lessons on those habits, but also just opportunities for students to lead and for us as adults to listen.
Yeah, and as Christy alluded to, in 2019 we began this. In 2018, we had the opportunity to see this in action and learn that the Leader in Me model is out there in highly effective schools all across the country, all across the world. Our friends over here in Charleston, they too also incorporate Leader in Me, and I think we've jointly found success in what that brings not only our students but our families as well. I've heard a lot of similar language coming from parents around think win-win, think with the end in mind. And so just making sure that we're setting the stage for our students to be successful, I think this is another key component.
Can you give us some examples of maybe some student responses and student success stories or anything?
Yeah, I just actually, before I was here, I was on an internal review for the 7 Habits, and a student was talking about his leadership goals. We call them WIGs, wildly important goals. And he was asked by a staff member, how does this help you in life? And he said, well, it gives me an end in mind for what I want to accomplish, and that it helps me put my priorities in order so that I set time aside each day to work towards accomplishing that. And then this part really hit home. He said, and ultimately, I'm in charge of me. I'm the one that has to decide whether or not I'm going to put the time in to achieve those goals. And we just feel like with kids figuring that out at age 8, how well equipped they'll be to serve in our communities and our society as leaders.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, the stuff they say,
I love success stories. Like
yeah.
That.
Well, and one of the key components of LIFT, to jump back to that, Jeff, is that, we have a leadership component which sets us apart from other vocational programs across the state and even throughout the region. So a key piece of that is that partnership with Franklin Covey and, other students from other school districts that may not have those opportunities can come to LIFT and experience that as well.
As you look back at this first year LIFT, you talk about some of the partners in the industry. What is their initial response? Are they already gung-ho for years 2 and they sign up? Or
Absolutely. We have such an overwhelming positive response from businesses in the region, but also nationally. So we've had several national partners come from as close as Wisconsin to as far as California and
really?
Seattle. Yeah, because what we're learning is that the workforce of the future has to be well equipped in these highly effective habits, right? It's the ability to communicate, to disagree nicely, and to find common ground, to look for win-win solutions, and to live a balanced life. We're finding in our businesses and in our young students, they're seeing how important it is to have that balance. And so what our industry partners are saying is that you're developing the skills we need in workers and leaders. We can teach them the on-the-job stuff when they get here, but if they're coming equipped with these habits, we're better off. So those are things, and the partners are excited to continue pushing in, whether it's virtually. We have a lot of people join, from far away on our video conferencing equipment from Cisco, or they're coming on site. We actually had Sean Covey come from Salt Lake City, and he paid a visit as, looking at this as a model for what leadership institutes at a high school level could look like. You have a senior at home, what it's like when they say, but how am I ever going to use this? Or why is this really important? And we seek to answer that question. We want to help them see meaning in what they're doing, both in our schools and then as they leave us and go on to their next steps.
The old social studies history teacher in me wants to kind of back it up here, Jeff, for just a second, because one of the things that we arrived at LIFT was, you'll remember maybe back in 2017, Mattoon in Motion started.
Yeah.
And there was these conversations around each of these kind of subcommittees, and what came out of that was what can we do from educating our youth to assisting in providing a workforce that's ready in our region. And so, we have to give some credit to those that were a part of that Mattoon in Motion that really saw the vision of maybe where things needed to go. And basically it was just our job to maybe kind of put that puzzle together for people. And again, with their help, we were able to do that. So I think that's
a rapid fire mode. If you think about it.
It really was. But again, it's not Christy or Tim doing all of that. That's like everybody that came together that really took a part of this. And that's what I think is another key takeaway is how much people are invested in the success of our youth, especially in our region, around, hopefully keeping them close to home. And offering them job opportunities where they can have the lifestyle that they want to have for their future families.
Do you think it helps you recruit better teachers too, or other teachers who may want to be involved down the line? I mean, they may only teach at high school or middle school for a few years, then they may have aspirations to move to LIFT or something. Does that help?
Yes, I think we're seeing such a bright crop of young educators. Eastern's enrollment is up in the education program, and we're seeing such an energetic, progressive set of teachers coming out, and they're looking for new ways to connect with their students and new ways to make sure that their teaching is really meaningful and connected to all parts of the whole child. And so we're seeing our interest for positions is fantastic. We have great applicants, and we're able to really select those who are going to make the biggest difference for our students and families. So I believe so.
Yeah.
20 minutes without a sports question, but we also hired some new coaches.
Yeah, we did.
You want to talk about those?
We did. We're excited to have a new head basketball coach. We're also excited to have a new head cross country coach. So we've
Head
got
soccer coach.
we've
Yep,
named
Alex.
head girls and head boys
And
soccer
Jason.
coach for next year, as well as Ryan Gear wraps up his 25th season as coaching soccer. I think there's probably some excitement, and maybe he'll miss it a little bit. We may have to encourage him to be a future official. I hear we're in every sport we're down on officials, so would encourage Ryan to do that as well. So yeah, we're excited. We've got as you know, a new athletic director in that role this year with Trent Duckett, and I think he's got some good ideas around what we can offer our students in the future extracurricularly. So.
When you're in a meeting and you maybe something bad, a little bit of bad news happened or something negative happened, how do you, Tim and Christy, how do you motivate your team to go out there and say, we got this, and we're going to overcome?
Well, I think it goes back to what our purpose is, and we've got great people, and so we all experience the things that we run across some stuff that, okay, well, this is another challenge. What can we do to work together to see how we can overcome that? And I think it's placing trust in those around you to be able to assist in solving that problem. And I guess we're just very fortunate in that sense that each one of our administrators, our staff members, our directors, our teachers, I think they come with the solutions in mind, or what they may offer to be able to assist, and it's always led with thinking about kids first.
Yeah, I would echo that. It's human to go through times that are challenging. Yeah. So I think having the foundation of strong relationships is really important. Trusting each other and being able to also just be real and authentic and say, okay, this is the situation. This is real. And I'm confident that we can figure out a solution. So let's feel what we're going to feel. Let's, get through that. And then let's start thinking about solutions. What's going to be the best option? And we can figure it out together. So I think there just needs to be this confident commitment that we're going to get through whatever it is together. And we've been really fortunate to have a group of people that have been together a long time. And so because of those strong relationships, we can go through harder times together.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
You said the school board election results got ratified today?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, we heard the finalization for that. So we have Gary Kepley, who's been a board member, is coming back on. We have a new board member, Cheryl Armstrong. She was elected out of Paradise Township. We have Dale Ryder, who was recently appointed but was elected on, and then Ashley Overton was reelected into the school board. So excited to work with the new board, and we'll seat them come May 9th as our board meeting. Yes.
Okay. In the event I go back to sports just for a second, because I have to get a little sports in there. But this is more of the conference. The Apollo Conference loses Lincoln.
Yes.
After this year, which nobody's going to complain about it at all. If you've traveled to Lincoln, you know what I mean. But
everybody's excited about not making that drive, right?
One more time. I got to make it one more time. But seriously, have you looked at, is a process going on to try to find replacements or move to a new conference, or
that's like the transfer portal conversation, right? Like athletic conferences and the transfer portal, you never know what next year's going to look like. Yeah. But there are conversations that are occurring, and I think more so around what football might look like for making sure that we get the number of games for the auto bid in the playoff. But I think that I think we're happy with the majority of that Apollo Conference and how that looks regionally, at least from travel perspective. And while we are losing Lincoln and sad to see them go, I think that it makes some sense for our kids to be a little closer. And I know there's probably some listeners out there that have experienced the Big 12 days and you went through that. Making that long trip to Normal and back on a school night.
Danville was worse. I always thought Danville was the bad one.
Yeah, because there's no real straight shot to get there, right? Yeah. So there's conversations that I think are just ongoing with athletic directors, with high school principals, with superintendents about what's going to look best, for their school district. But I think we we'll see some changes probably down the road. Not sure quite yet when that'll be, but I think we're surely set for next year and maybe even the year after that.
Yeah. What about this summer in terms of some of the other schools? What will be some of the work being done? Any summer projects going to happen at the schools?
Yeah, we do have some exciting summer projects happening at both elementary schools. We're looking at some updated flooring. We always have parking lot work. Always, yes. Everywhere.
Yeah, those are elementary schools that were built in 2002, finished up in 2003, and opened in 2003. As Christy was mentioning, we've got some flooring in the cafeteria and the gym area. We're actually putting down a different type of floor in that gym area. It was carpet.
It's gonna look amazing.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of a softer poly material that is going to look like a wood floor. So it'll be pretty nice. I think that I think our PE teachers and I think our custodial staff are excited to see some updates happening there. And yeah, as Christy said, there's always some parking lot work. So we've got parking lot at Lift getting started, I think, May 25th, the day after school is out. So there's only so much time in that window, right? Yeah. So a lot of good things, I think happening with maintenance, and hopefully be able to tie those things up by the first part of August.
We have a great director in that position. Dustin Stolfus does an amazing job kind of coordinating a lot of projects, and he's got a big board up there with his, top projects. And Tim mentioned about the elementary schools. That flooring is 20 years old, and just imagine if you had carpet in your dining room for 20 years, right? So our custodial staff has done an incredible job of keeping that. I mean, it really does look good. We're just trying to update because those buildings are also used for a lot of youth sports programming, and we're hoping to increase those opportunities as well.
Yeah, Dustin's great. I mean, last year for the first home football game, it was way too bright in the press box, and by the next home game, he had a dimmer switch up there.
Look at that.
I mean, it was incredible.
He's got you spoiled.
I asked him for a dimmer switch like 2 years ago. I'm just kidding.
Gotta be loud.
I guess.
So about a minute and a half left with you two. Anything else from the school district or Mattoon that you want to talk about?
It's an exciting time of year in all school districts. As spring is upon us, and the events that happen at high schools, would encourage any community members out there to be active and be a part in supporting students in your local communities just by being there. Our youth are bright, and I look forward to seeing what they can do in the future, and I feel pretty blessed that we have this opportunity to be able to have a positive impact on them. So.
Yeah, it's all just really great times. Of course, this weekend, my favorite day on Facebook is coming up. We have prom, as you know. So I, like Tim, it's just nice to see our kids out doing so many amazing things and just encourage families to get involved, stay connected, and we're looking forward to continue the good work together next year.
All right, we usually have time for silly questions. We'll have time for one today. Your favorite teacher in, we'll say at least through high school, 1st through 12th grade. Who's your favorite teacher?
That would have been my math teacher, Paul Ruddle. God rest his soul, but Paul, he taught me a lot more about life than maybe I remember about math. But that's what any good teacher or coach does.
Mrs. Kazel, 1st grade, or of course my dad, U.S. history.
Well, Christy, Tim, thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Jeff.
We'll see you at graduation. All right?
We'll see you there.
4 weeks. Everybody have a great day. We are WEIU. Again, enjoy your day.